My people, RolePunk. So currently, as we wait for the page to turn in the Gamma Haven series, the canon, the grand stage, you as listeners who have entered into the game with your very own character became that character and portray that character in our Discord servers. You roleplay with others and develop your character by interacting, creating relationships, and some of you take it further. You create your own stories that are framed within the parameters set by myself in the RolePunk rules. Parameters that allow failure, parameters that simulate the odds. That way you can measure your success by using the odds of failure. I've even seen some of you begin to run entire campaigns. Awesome. I like where the meta is and how everyone has found that sweet spot in the continuity where it's all non-canon, but what is canon trickles into it. You know what I mean? And that is just thanks to the suggestion of making the line between RolePunk and the Gamma Haven series more defined. And because the two are clearly separated, I can play with and tweak RolePunk with reckless abandon, satiating my game design fix, right? And so I want to expand on this. Punk jobs. Players who enjoy telling their own story and also appreciate the RNG that's provided by the GM tool that fuels the RolePunk Endeavor system will like this. Players will be able to solo or form parties to take on jobs. Jobs are structured with 3 acts, similar to the main series. And these 3 acts function as stages of your adventure. Beginning, middle, and end. Simple. Jobs have to be completed from beginning to end with the same party in order to succeed. The roleplay premise. Any amount of role-playing can take place in between acts, and we encourage players to make their role-playing scenes memorable and fun. Each act will have a broad premise that provides ample wiggle room for imagination. So, you can tailor how long this adventure is going to be, but there is always the chance that you could fail your roles, thus obviously prolonging the mission unless you just give up. The acts are essentially checkpoints until you reach the end. Job types. The job type defines the type of objective you or your party is to accomplish. As role players, you will determine the details and narrative within the framework of the job type. For example, if the job type is one where you need to eliminate the target, you can probably imagine what the beginning, middle, and end is going to flow like in this story that you've yet to roleplay and improv through. Each job type will require you to choose a plot subject from our ever-growing Gamma Haven lore on our Anvil site. And that should be fun because, if you succeed in your job, your story will naturally become part of the lore's history, and we'll put it in there. So job types, right? Job types. We have retrieval jobs. This is when the party is tasked with retrieving the target for their client, whether it's extracting a hostage or picking up the Haven Lord from the airport to bring home. Something involving collecting something, okay? Then there's discovery jobs, when the party is tasked with discovering something unknown to you or the general public, whether it's a cure for a virus or a hidden underground society. You're discovering something. The elimination jobs are when the party is tasked with simply destroying or neutralizing a target for a particular purpose. So be wary of your alignment when you're getting in, when one of your friends said, hey, let's do this, let's do a job, and they probably already have in mind what kind of job they want to do. Just make sure you're in character still. And then last but not least, there's protection jobs. This is when the party is tasked with keeping the target safe from adversity, harm, what have you. Whether it's an escort job or information cybersecurity, create some sort of security-based countermeasure that protects a bank as they make a giant wire transfer. Protection. Let's talk about obstacles. As stated, a job is structured with 3 acts that function as stages of your adventure: beginning, middle, and end. Each party member has an important role to play, or at least they should. And so each player will have a personal obstacle they must overcome before the entire party can progress toward the next act. Okay? A skilled role player will not be so obvious with their tribulations and will surely want to take their time painting that picture for their allies before they can pop that GM question of whether they overcame the obstacle. Now, the obstacle can be whatever you imagine it to be and is one that only your character can truly overcome. As you roleplay and improvise, you would have this obstacle be a story element in your party's way. Think of the result being your most important feat or contribution during the current act that you're in. Once you're ready to attempt to overcome your obstacle, you perform your action, you roleplay it through as you do with endeavors, and then you ask the GM the question with the likelihood code set to whatever the likelihood code is. Each act will have its own respective likelihood code difficulty. Failure. There are 3 important rules to failure. Rule number 1, failing your obstacle means bad stuff happens, and because of this negative plot twist that's going to happen, players must roleplay through dealing with the consequences before being able to even ask the obstacle question again. So remember, you're supposed to roleplay it out, then ask the question to see if you succeeded in what you roleplayed out. If you fail, you need to continue to write in reaction to what has gone wrong. It's going to be a negative plot twist, something bad that is not good that you'll need to bounce back from before you can even ask, do I overcome the obstacle question again? Rule number 2, if the party combined fails the obstacle question a total of 3 times, combined 3 times, a negative plot twist forces them to retire for the day, in-game, and they must start the act over. So you need to make it seem like you all failed, something has happened so drastically on that 3rd one that y'all need to go back to town, you need to reset, restart, you need to start over, you need to retire in character, in game, and think of another approach. Anything related to the player's last attempt is rendered useless, and players must approach the act's objective in a creative, new way. Rule 3. The party cannot progress to the next act until all members succeed in overcoming their obstacle once and only once. So once you pass it, your character is good. The exception being if the party is forced to retire and start the act over. So if everybody fails after you fail, then you still have to start over. But you only need in each act to achieve your obstacle once. Then it's just up to your allies, unless of course you're playing solo. The final act, Act 3, has default obstacle odds of EW or either way, or 50-50. This is because whenever you get a yes and or a no and, which is akin to a critical success or fail, the odds of Act 3's success chances will change. If any time during the job, the GM responds to the obstacle question with no and, this decreases Act 3's obstacle success chance by 1 likelihood code rank. So for example, it'll go from likely down to somewhat likely. However, if you get a yes and, this will in turn increase the obstacle success chances by 1 likelihood code rank, making it easier to overcome. For example, going from likely to very likely when asking, do you overcome the obstacle? Think of it this way. When you get a critical yes, it's good for everyone. The more you fail though, the less likely things will happen how we wanted them to in the end. The odds of the last act will never reset. It will always start at either way and will move up and down the likelihood code scale even after being forced to retire. Success and artifacts. Upon your success in completing the job, I highly encourage you to post a short summary of your adventure and tag your allies in the post. You can do that, along with journal entries from your character's perspective. In addition, each of you will receive an artifact. An artifact is a trophy and can look like whatever you want it to. I encourage you to personalize it, name it, describe it, and list it in your character's inventory on your Anvil profile page. It is a representation of your character's success. Most importantly, it is a currency. Your artifact can be traded and or gifted to another player. Your artifact is a lore pass when given to others. Your artifact allows another player to submit lore. Every punk type has been assigned a set of lore categories that they govern. When designing your unique artifact, you must bless it with one of your punk type's governing lore categories. This means the ability to submit lore that you have full control of is granted by obtaining another player's artifact. You cannot use your own, and everyone has something another wants. In closing, basically, punk jobs will segment your role-playing adventures that you already have into 3 organized, digestible parts, with each part giving you and your party an opportunity to improvise, roleplay, develop your character, and paint a picture together. With the focus on each player needing to contribute, this provides the excitement of player versus environment as you assist each other narratively. Building a story as you go within the confines of the RolePunk framework, I think could be really fun. The outline of the job framework and the artifact guide will always be available for reference. There will even be job themes based on some of your characters with special rewards, but more on that later. One more thing that you all have been wondering, the Room of Reflections, right? The best reward, in my personal opinion, is when everyone is genuinely enjoying each other's role-playing, you know? That's why once a day, if another player's role-playing really resonates with you, then you can show your gratitude by pasting that moment or scene into the Room of Reflection. This room will only contain other players' favorite role-playing snippets from their peers. Players whose role-playing shows up here just might receive a special invitation link to their own personal short feature episode that builds on their character's canon mythos created by myself. Posting in the Room of Reflection is a big deal. It's almost like nominating someone for a role-playing award. I mean, that's what this is. So please be genuine and frugal with your generosity in your posts. So when this goes live, I'm really looking forward to hearing how everything goes with your jobs, your role playing, and your role punking. See you in the Discord.